dance for joy or lust or anger.
So welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where we look at sensible and practical buyers you can buy between the budget of £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2010 Alfa Romeo 159 Sportwagon 1.75 TBI TI, and you could argue that it's perhaps not the most sensible and practical car, but we do like it nevertheless. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Alfa Romeo 159 was launched in this country in early 2006. It remained on sale until 2011, and there wasn't really any kind of direct placement for it. It dated from a time when Fiat and General Motors had a sort of tie-up going on, and they were actually going to merge at one point, but it never happened. That explains why the basic engine in one of these 159s is a 1.8 General Motors Family 1 engine with 138 horsepower. Those are the only 159s you'll find actually with a 5-speed manual gearbox. All the others, like this 1.75 litre, got a 6-speed manual, although there were some automatics available as well. When the car came out, the 4-cylinder engines actually were not that Family 1 engine. They were a 1.9 or a 2.2 JTS engine. The lesser one, the 1.9, developing 158 horsepower, and then the 2.2, which is the one that James May drove in episode Top Gear, generating 182 horsepower. They were eventually replaced with this 1.75 litre TBI engine, which generates 197 horsepower, and then right at the top of the range was a 3.2 V6 with 256 horsepower. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. Anyway, this is an Alfa Romeo. Why on earth would you be buying such an attractive looking car with supposedly very sporty handling and put a forbidden fuel engine in it? This TBI engine was actually also used in the Alfa Romeo 4C, and in latter years the Brera and the Spider that was based on the Brera, because of the platform actually for this car, which was only ever used by Alfa Romeo, is the same as the Brera and the Spider. GM were going to use this platform for some other cars, but that never happened because the tie-up between the two companies was called off. Going around these roundabouts, actually, the steering is a little bit lighter than I imagined it would be. I've driven a couple of 166s and quite a few other Alfa Romeos, including a 916 Spider, and I expected there just to be a little bit more feedback in the steering. It's not too bad, but just I expected a bit more. I think I've watched a video by Neil at Talia Autos. I don't agree with everything he says in the video about the fact that, you know, the only decent ones are the ones of the engine we can't talk about. I don't agree with that, but he did say the car is actually maybe more suited as a sort of cruiser as opposed to out and out sports car, and maybe that's the case. Certainly there's loads of power from this engine. It's very quiet actually, there's no raspy noise. It's not like a twin spark, and I've driven plenty of Alfas with twin spark engines. It actually feels very refined, and lots of power, 0 to 62 in 7.7 seconds, but really not quite as kind of loud and maybe sort of kind of like a vocal as you expect, but that's fine. Gearbox does require some effort to actually move. The change is quite stiff. It's very short throw, it's very accurate, but it is a little bit stiff. It could be explained by the fact this car's done almost 120,000 miles, or it could be that this is just what they're like. Certainly, you don't want for any any performance in this. It feels really quick. You could actually say that really the V6, which has got about 60 more horsepower, would be superfluous. I mean, it'd be nice, it would sound great, but maybe it is a bit superfluous. It's funny that Tiff Needell, when he tried one of these, which was I think a V6, back in the day, he also didn't quite like the gearbox. I think the gearbox is fine. It's just so I can see why some people might not like it. You could get an automatic on the V6 as well. You can also get a V6 with four-wheel drive. On the 2.2 JTS engine, it was available with a 7-speed semi-automatic transmission, but I'm not sure that was available in this country. Lloyd Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. Ride actually is a lot better than I thought it would be. I've been told that this car, because it's got 17-inch wheels on it, is a lot more comfortable than 19-inch wheels, and certainly I'd go with these smaller wheels and the sort of higher profile tyres. I think one of the main reasons why you might buy an Alfa 159 Sportwagon is the way the car looks, and it is amazing. I'm told that actually the headlamps, which look brilliant, aren't very good, which is a shame. And you know, we'll probably find some more sacrifices of practicality over style, or rather style over practicality, as we go round. So, designed by Giugiaro, as you can see down there, they're proud of that, but with assistance from the Centro Stile Alfa Romeo. I can't believe this car's done the mileage it has. I mean, there's some signs of age on it, there's some kind of stone chips and a few scratches and things, but overall, it does look extremely attractive. So we can pop the boot. There we go. Lovely twin exhausts, parking sensors on this TI model, and proudly displaying the then very new TBI 1.75 litre 4-cylinder engine. So about 460 litres of space. It's kind of comparable probably to the Mercedes-Benz C-Class S204 of the era in terms of the space inside here. But one thing you do have though is this enormous lip, which is something I don't recall from too many state cars. If you had, for example, the Honda Accord, I think it called the Sportwagon or Sports Tourer of the same era, you'd have a much larger boot and you wouldn't have this big lip. But again, style over practicality. This is an Alfa Romeo after all. Got these interesting little compartments on the side here, which I don't know what you might do with them. It's just maybe keep things nice and tidy, but that's really neat. Also got this load blind here, and I must say that in comparison to something like an Alfa 166, which did come before this and is maybe a little bit bigger than this, but was maybe aimed at the same type of person as one of these, although you couldn't get an estate version of a 166. This would feel like a very high quality car, and it does. So just lift this up. You can see under there we've got spare wheel. Clearly the people who've owned this car, I think it's only had a couple of owners in its life, have really looked after it. Like the older 156, the top of the tailgate goes quite far back into the roofline. Open up the rear door with this rather attractive door handle. That's very nice in terms of both the way it looks and the way it feels. Ooh. Oh, viewers, not only do we have a beige leather interior, which provides me with some degree of excitement, but also it smells absolutely amazing. Just move that out of the way. So yes, your mandated high visibility vest if you go in France or something like that. Fits in the mat pocket quite nicely. How do we get into here? Oh, yes. Oh, a ski hatch. That's really nice. Obviously, if you bought the Q4 model, which was available with the petrol V6, and another engine we can't talk about, then you might want to go skiing up in the Alps or something. So that's rather good. Beige headliner as well. And a lovely smell. Even got some practicality, got some door pockets in here. It's all lined with this lovely leather, like the door cards. Let's put my foot inside here. Oh. Yeah, that's the sort of thing. If you've got a tall driver in here, there's not that much space in the back, because headroom's fine, it's okay, but there's not much legroom unless you sort of sit up like this, which is not the most comfortable, but it's okay. Got quite a big transmission tunnel in here as well. I presume that's for the Q4 versions, principally. But either 7 or 8 airbags in one of these, depending whether you have your optional driver's knee bag. So quite a safe car. There's 5-star UN cap back in the day, which is nice. I don't think anyone particularly would have bought an Alfa Romeo principally for safety, but you know, nice to know that it works okay. Right, I think we better go in the most important seat in the house, the beige leather driver's seat. So, again, really nicely damped door handles, and just a better feeling of quality than something like a 156 or a 166. I love the way that Alfa have just not cared about anyone else and decided that we're just going to put Italian script in these gauges. Aqua and Benzina. Oh, terrible lighting, I'm afraid, viewers. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Aqua, Benzina, then a turbo boost gauge in this car, which is fantastic. We've got cruise control and automatic lights. Fantastic. For some reason, the trip computer is on the end of this stalk here, which is unusual, but this is an Alfa Romeo after all. What exactly were you expecting? Nice footrest down there. This is one of the later cars. This is from 2010, so we haven't got the sort of silver finish that a lot of the earlier ones did have. We've got this sort of aluminium. I think this is genuine aluminium, but it's sort of darker effect. And I don't know, I suppose some people would prefer that, some people prefer something else. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of manufacturers at the time this car was launched, about 2006, were putting the ignition keys kind of onto the left-hand side here, and putting a little slot like that. Volvo the same with the S40, and BMW with the E90, E91 3 Series. Also got a start-stop button there. Yeah, very nice kind of hooded instruments, very reminiscent of older Alfa Romeos, like the GT Junior that I drove in 2019, actually. It was in 1971. So, yeah, so far this is turning out to be quite a good 6-speed manual, the only option of transmission for this 1.75 litre TBI engine. I think all of these actually got the climate control. This is dual zone in this car. Nice traditional handbrake, fantastic. There is just one cup holder though, which is sort of here, and that's it. There's nothing else of that description, which is a bit of a shame, but I suppose it's an Alfa Romeo, you know, you don't have to worry about things like that, do you? You're more concerned about other things. So yeah, the climate vents is there, little storage capacity, storage cubby in there. One thing I haven't seen, and maybe it's hiding somewhere, there's the cigarette lighter, is an aux-in or USB port, but I don't think you got those necessarily in these. This dash is nice and soft actually. It's just a really nice high quality car. I've got an automatic dipping rear view mirror, No sat nav though, which is fine. I mean, you know, these days sat navs from 2010 are very outdated, but I don't think you could get that on any of them. Maybe an option, but I've never seen a review of one of these with the sat nav in it. And we've got some functions here, the fog lights. I think that's miles might be for actually putting the trip computer into kilometres or miles or something. I'll have to see in a second. So if we put the key in, it's a bit easier because I don't have to use my right hand to do it. We put the key in. There we go. And there we go. We've got a blue and me system on this car. Right, better turn that off. We don't want any copyright infringement views. Plus clutch or brake can start. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously red for the little instrument display here, which is very appropriate. Got some door bins in here. They're better than on a Volvo S40, but they're not the biggest. But again, why are we worrying about such things here? Is we're in a car which can be described as the appurtenance of gracious living. We'll look at that glove box later, see if mission documents go in, but I think it's time to have a look under the bonnet. And here we are, viewers, the 1.75 litre TBI engine, turbo benzina iniezione, generating 197 horsepower. Massive plastic cover on here, so, you know, there's that. The coolant reservoir is actually at the back there, which is interesting. That's an old General Motors coolant reservoir cap, actually, same as on the Savastra H's and things like that. So we can just about see the gearbox. This engine does have a cam belt, like the old Twin Spark, which it is distantly related to. The other engines, apart from the 1.8, actually have timing chains on them. But sometimes I've heard on the 4-cylinder JTSs that they can fail, so just be aware of that. But yeah, overall, it's very, very nice, clean engine bay. I think Mo's been detailing this for me or something, but yeah, very nice. Still under the Fiat Group Automobiles SPA, no sign of Fiat Chrysler or Stellantis yet. Okay, I think I better stop waffling and go for another drive, viewers. The feeling I get from this car, although in some ways it does feel very sporty, the steering it's accurate, if not got the most weight to it. The engine's not the loudest or sportiest feeling, but this would be a fantastic car just for taking on the motorway. I don't gather that these are the most economical engines. Obviously, if you wanted economy, you could go for engines we can't talk about, and there are plenty of those. But it just feels a lot more sort of grown up and better made than a lot of the other Alfa Romeos I've tried, like a 145, 916 Spider, 2 166s. I'd love to try a 147 actually, and maybe some others like a Brera and a GT. But this is really nice. I can see why people really liked these, and it's a shame they didn't sell an awful lot of them. And you know, Alfa Romeo saloons disappeared from the market for 5 years. This is eventually replaced with the Giulia, which I have driven. I've driven a Giulia Quadrifoglio on the channel. But this is just what Alfa Romeo's kind of used to be like, you know, General Motors bits or no General Motors bits. And, you know, these do have problems. But where I'm sitting today, I'm not really worried about those. So in this country anyway, the trim levels for the Alfa Romeo 159 Sportwagon were the base model. There were some of those. At one point you could just buy like a 1.8. The Turismo Sport, the Elegante, the Lusso, and the TI, which is the top model. I forgot to say earlier, but it's pretty obvious, but yeah, you could buy a saloon one of these as well. So viewers, should you consider an Alfa Romeo 159 for your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000? Well, there's not many for sale. I did have a look, and there are some. There's not a lot. And if you go to the Italia Autos channel, and I'll put a link to that in the description below, there is a kind of buyer's guide about these. I mean, I don't agree with everything in it, but yeah, it will tell you more about the kind of common issues with these, such as the rust on the front and rear subframe, which is one of the biggest problems with these cars, as well as other interesting things. Actually, this car's got quite a lot of the things that have been missing. We've got a little insert here in the door handle and a little mat down there. Apparently those are very common for missing. Someone really looked after this car. I'm really glad to have had a go in it. You either really want one of these or you don't. And I, sitting in this beige leather interior with this lovely conditioned car on this sunny day, I quite fancy one. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video and comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more reasonably priced motoring.
1, 2, 3, 4. Every blue day, every day with blue skies.